Hi everyone, my name is Nicci Daly. I'm a member of the Irish women's hockey team. I'm a motorsport data engineer, and I also run a programme called the Go Girls Karting and STEM Initiative. So the World Cup was an unbelievable experience for the whole team. It was the first time we'd qualified for the World Cup since 2002, and we had no real expectations to go as far as we did, but we played some unbelievable hockey. We enjoyed it as much as we could, and we got to a World Cup final. We had no real sense of what was going on back home. We had kind of gone off social media for the whole entire tournament just so that we could focus on the games and what we needed to do as a team. And when we got to the final and we got our silver medal, we could just see the number of people at home who were cheering us on. And when we got home to Dublin, there was 7,000 people in the middle of Dame Street to welcome us home, and that was an unbelievable feeling. Having done so well in the World Cup really set us up to qualify for an Olympics, and that was something that we'd never done before, ever, as a women's hockey team. Since I started almost 11 years ago, it's always been the goal to try and qualify for an Olympics. So it was great to have the Olympic qualifier here at home in Ireland, in Dublin. I took a penalty. I think I went second. It's all a bit of a blur now, to be honest. They are very nerve-wracking, especially when it's very close, and once again it was very close against Canada. Thankfully it went in, and I was never so happy to see it hit the back of the board. We had tried so many times to qualify, and we'd missed out narrowly many times, but this was the icing on the cake to finally qualify for an Olympics. So motorsport's been a part of my life a lot longer than maybe hockey has. I grew up in a motor racing family. My dad was a racing driver and my uncle was a Formula 1 driver. So I've grown up with the sport forever. I spent every weekend when I was younger at Mundello Park with my dad. Just always loved being a part of it. I really enjoyed the whole technical side of the sport, and that's when I got into engineering. So I went on and worked for a racing team in the States called Juncos Racing, and I became a data engineer. For anyone who doesn't know what a data engineer is, the car is fitted with loads of different sensors, so it'll be able to track how fast the wheels move. It can track the movement of the suspension when it's going around the corner. It can track the driver's input, so how the driver's using the steering wheel or how they're using the brake and the throttle. And all that information then gets sent into what's called a data logger, so a little bit something like this, and all the information gets stored in here. And then when it's connected to the laptop, the engineers are able to see all the information coming from the sensors. So it's really important to be able to see all these different variables and all this information in order to improve the performance of the car and improve the performance of the driver. What we're going to do is we're going to build and simulate what a data logger looks like, and what we're going to do is we're going to connect the temperature sensor to the data logger, and then we're going to connect the data logger to the laptop, and we're going to be able to see then live telemetry of the temperature and the humidity and the time that it happens at. So what we have first is we're going to hook up the temperature sensor. So every sensor has 3 inputs. It's got the power, it's got the signal, which is the actual temperature reading itself, and it's got the negative or the ground, which completes your power circuit. Okay, so we're going to go with red for power, so that's going to connect into the plus. We're going to go with black for the negative, for the ground, and we'll go with green as our signal. So this is the one where the information will actually be transferred from the temperature sensor into the logger. So we're going to connect these then into the logger itself. So we have ground into GND on the data logger. We're going to put the signal is going to be into pin 7. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect the power to the power band on our breadboard here. And now you can see we get real-time information. So we get the temperature that the sensor is reading is 23.4 degrees, and the humidity is around 53–54%. So we can see it as the car is going around the track, we can see exactly what the temperature is. So if we cover that over now using my hand, we'll start to see the humidity is already starting to increase, and you can see that the temperature is also increasing, 23.8, 23.9, So although this is just an experiment here today, this is exactly what happens on track with a real racing car, and this is exactly how we get the information from the car onto the laptop so that we can see exactly how the engine is performing, or if it's a different type of sensor, if it's a steering sensor, we can see exactly how the driver is using the steering wheel, or if it's a throttle or a brake sensor, we can see exactly how the driver is using the brakes and the accelerator pedal. If any young girl wants to be a racing driver, I think they should definitely go for it. We actually have a young racing driver here in the country called Alex Kobe, and she's 16 and she's been racing all over Europe. She holds a number of lap records here in Ireland, so she's shown that she can race and she can beat the boys, so it just highlights that the sport isn't just for boys, it's for girls as well. In 2019, Formula Female launched the Go Girls Karting and STEM initiative, a joint venture between Formula Female and Motorsport Ireland, to highlight the different roles that are involved in the sport, such as engineering, mechanics, team managers, business, all these different roles that are involved in taking part in a sport like motorsport, and just trying to, raise the awareness of it to more young girls.